and welcome back to How to Doom. This is an addendum to my series of video tutorials for Dr. Doom in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. My name is Tangrowth, and in today's episode we're going to be discussing Dr. Doom's mix game, specifically his incoming mixes. Dr. Doom's incoming mixes are super varied, and this isn't intended to be like a comprehensive guide. It's more some examples of mixes to use in different situations, their strengths, their weaknesses, and why you might use some over some others. So I'm really excited to get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and let's hop right in. A lot of Dr. Doom's incoming game fundamentally boils down to delivering a meaty and then navigating the opponent's response to that meaty. So whether they push block, whether they don't, and a lot of that comes down to your knowledge of the opposing player. So a lot of Doom's incoming mixes are kind of based on that sort of player knowledge rather than character knowledge, but there are some exceptions. You have to keep in mind whether the opponent has air mobility or not. You have to keep in mind whether they have any invincible options like Sentinel's Hard Drive or Phoenix's Phoenix Rage. Either of those can blow up an incoming that's not a true meaty, so you have to keep it extra meaty against them. And in general though, you want to deliver your incomings in a way that isn't predictable but also is not going to put you at risk, and I think that keeping your Doom safe is more important than immediately getting the hit on incoming every single time. So one really important aspect of Doom's incoming mixes, in my opinion, is to keep it meaty. So Dr. Doom has a lot of really strong, really varied incoming mixes, but a lot of them center around this pillar of keep it meaty. Keep the opponent in block stun, keep them reacting to what you're doing, don't let them get a turn, don't let them use their movement, which may be superior to yours, to get out of your setups, and instead use your assists, use your own air mobility and your own movement tools to keep them locked down. So keep it meaty is a good rule of thumb when it comes to incomings with Dr. Doom. Alright, so with all of that said, let's take a minute and look at some specific incoming mixes in specific situations. I'm going to give you basically like one incoming that I like to do in each situation. This is by no means intended to be like the best incoming you can possibly get in that situation. It's just one good, useful incoming for a variety of situations, and hopefully you find this useful to your growth as a Doom. Alright, so the first incoming we're going to go over is fairly strong, fairly simple, and works well against an opponent who is either mashing on incoming or turtling on incoming, so push blocking you away. And that's meaty super jump foot dive. So meaty super jump foot dive, super strong incoming. And if you do it with the right positioning, you can catch the opponent. Depending on exactly how you space it, this can occasionally cross up, though I personally have not figured out the rules on that. You get a full combo after, all the damage in the world. Really, really strong starter, really, really strong meaty. If the opponent has a tendency to turtle and push block you away, it also works to set up a guard break. Boom. Super simple, super easy. I can't stress enough the strength of just super jump meaty foot dive as an incoming. Now, if the opponent has a tendency to block on incoming and not push block, super jump height foot dive tends to lose a little bit of value. But you can still sometimes cross the opponent up with it, so it's extremely useful for that purpose. You can also occasionally catch them with the overhead afterward. So that might look something like this. Boom, overhead. So super strong incoming regardless of what the opponent is doing, but you do have to read them to know what follow-up you're going to go for. In any case, dash down forward and foot dive again is a decent option select. You'll get butter gun, I believe, and it'll just whiff and then you'll hit the ground faster, so that's not a bad option at all. In general though, super strong incoming, and you shouldn't be afraid to use it. However, if the opponent has a tendency to block on incoming and not push block, there's a couple stronger options we can go for. So one of those might look like this. Boom. So one thing that we haven't talked about is the fact that when the opponent comes in on incoming, they're in an untouchable state, or an ungrabbable state, until they hit the ground, hit a button, or input another action like a dash. This ungrabbable state can be super annoying for someone whose primary game is grabs, like Doom. So you have to do something kind of creative like I did there with the light. So if you catch them with the light coming in, as soon as they have been touched, they lose the ungrabbable state and they can be grabbed. Boom. Super duper strong. So it's just up, forward heavy, and that option selects with foot dive. So if I don't get the grab there, I get foot dive, which is safe. Really, really strong incoming. This particular incoming with the meaty light is really strong also at mid-screen. So at mid-screen it might look something like this. So I did it a little bit slow there, but with proper timing, you can actually cross the opponent up. Boom. Very rarely is the opponent going to expect that, but a Doom who knows how to use his dash cancels can be super powerful. Additionally, if the opponent push blocks me there, that stand jab will still catch them if they're mashing. Or at the very least, it's safe. So, super strong incoming. If the opponent tends to push block you at mid-screen, you may want to pull in something like this. Boom. So that's a true meaty, that's a true cross-up, that's the incoming that we discussed in the normals and specials episode. It's just instant air dash, medium, extremely strong on incoming from anywhere on the screen, especially if combined with an assist. So you can do something like this. And then even if they block the cross-up, they're in a really vulnerable position. So that's another super strong incoming at mid-screen. But let's go back to the corner for a minute. I want to talk more about how Dr. Doom layers his incomings with assists. So one of the best ways to catch the opponent on incoming with an assist is simply with Buttergun. So if the opponent, especially if they like to mash, you can often catch them with something like that. Forget my crusty inputs, it's like day 6 on Hitbox. Another really strong option, as you saw there, is just cross under foot dive with an assist. So cross under foot dive is really powerful if you do it with slightly different timing. It'll hit same side, so it's a pure 50-50 every time. And if you combine that with a really meaty assist, like Rapid Slash here, like Sentinel Drones, like Daggers, like Spitfire, or even Dark Hole is super strong for this purpose, it can be extremely powerful. So let's talk some more about Buttergun. Buttergun is super strong for Doom's incomings. It's super strong in general, but especially for his incomings. So if the opponent really likes to mash, a nice falling away Buttergun is super safe, super strong, and especially if combined with an assist, though he doesn't even need it, can be extremely powerful. So falling away Buttergun is a really reliable, really safe meaty. If the opponent is blocking but tending not to push block, it's also super good for the touch them and then grab them setup. Boom. So often the opponent won't even realize they've been touched there. So they won't be teching, so you just get a free grab. Super duper strong. One situation I want to highlight is, let's say you're dealing with an Anchor Doom scenario, especially one where you have multiple meters and X Factor. One of my favorite incomings in this situation, especially off a dead character, is multiple missiles into Team Super. So this can be super strong. If you're doing it off of a dead character, it gives you enough time to really take advantage of it. So that might look something like this. Fairly safe, fairly easy to navigate afterward, and you get a variety of options. So really relatively strong incoming in my opinion, though you're rarely going to mix the opponent up with the incoming itself. That's mostly for catching mashers. What it is really strong for is the fact that it's super duper safe. So a lot of Doom's incomings, if you don't have an assist to cover you up, do kind of expose him to some danger. Even if it's just an X Factor guard cancel. And this incoming is super duper safe. It also has a little bit of a cross-up element to it, like you saw there. So as a result, it's surprisingly strong, despite not being the schmixiest, if that makes sense. So once you have an understanding of these various techniques, Doom can start to layer them in really oppressive ways. So that might look something like this. So I messed up the combo there, but that was a really solid incoming with like 3 layers to it, and it was super simple to execute. And then everything dies. So super strong incoming. So just to review, that consisted of call the assist. So I walked backwards, I called the assist, I dashed forward, I did JM, and then I did foot dive. That's all. That's all that took for like 3 layers. So this has been a quick and dirty overview of Dr. Doom's incoming mixes in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So this is not intended in any way to be a comprehensive guide or to encompass every single way that Dr. Doom can mix the opponent on incoming. Rather, it's intended to give you an idea into one player's philosophy of how to construct an incoming with Dr. Doom. Namely, keep it meaty and then layer it up after that. So Dr. Doom has really strong left-right and high-low mixes, especially at mid-screen, but he can do it in the corner too, as we saw, and you really can't be afraid to work those layers in there once you have the meaty setups down. I can't stress enough that that first layer of the meaty is going to win you so many games against mashers or people in general, training them not to press buttons, which then allows you to come in with your grab game. So super strong strategy. Don't be afraid to just meaty the hell out of the opponent and then layer your incomings from there. So yeah, this has been, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Tangrowth. I hope this has been informative for you. Happy Marvel, and yeah, bye-bye.